Alrighty, well, good morning, folks. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Christopher Phillips. I'm a fourth year at the University of Chicago studying economics and political science. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Chicago Thinker, which is the University of Chicago's premier student publication. It has a conservative and libertarian bent. We're so happy to have you here. This is going to be a fantastic event. Thank you for getting here at 9 to 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday. That's really something special. Give yourselves a round of applause, actually, for that. I applaud you. We're so happy to have you. I want to thank our gold sponsors, Mises Institute and Classical Conversations, for their contributions to fantastic organizations. In addition, we've got ISI as a silver sponsor, and at the bronze level, we've got Truth and Liberty Coalition, Becker Friedman Institute, and the Voices for Liberty Initiative. So I want to thank them. And I also want to thank the Institute of Politics for partially sponsoring student attendance at our event. So I'd like to give them a round of applause as well. I want to preface by saying that the Chicago Thinker is a 501c3 nonprofit, and thus these views that I'm going to share with you and that all the panelists will share with you are theirs, of their own. So we're very excited to have that sort of contention and disagreement, but also constructive dialogue. I'll tell you, I'm a fourth year, and so for the last 3.5 to 4 years, I have been at the University of Chicago, and it is truly a special place. We have the foundations here both institutionally and socially and culturally for free speech and open inquiry. We have the fundamental infrastructure in place for that that's not really in place at other universities, and we have to be really grateful for that. I am so grateful for it. My whole team is. So we have to recognize that here. I mean, I've been to countless schools, and I spoke about this yesterday a bit. You'll see Ivy Plus schools sort of on the East Coast. You see schools in California, where I'm from, even a lot of state schools in the middle of the country. And when I try to talk with students there, and we have a point of disagreement, they often shut down, right? At least traditionally that's what's happened, just in the time that I've been at university. But here it's different. I mean that earnestly. And so I'm so grateful to be attending school here, and really we all are. The Chicago Thinker was founded in October of 2020. It was launched at that time in the midst of the COVID pandemic by Audrey Unverfurth and Evita Duffy, two brave young women who said that the climate on campus, the social and political climate on campus, wanted to keep them silent. Wanted to keep them silent and not allow them to say what they believed to be true. And thus they didn't just accept that. They didn't just shut up. They came out and produced this great publication. They started it, and it was such a brave thing to do. I mean, really, so much bravery. I commend the people who write for it now. They're brave, but it was really something different at that time. I mean, this was in the midst of a very progressive moment where you had what I think are basically the focal point of cancel culture in recent memory is when you had this. It was impossible to talk to somebody with whom you disagreed. It was impossible to be friends with somebody on campus with whom you disagreed politically. That was such a challenge. So to be clear, I was a senior in high school when the Thinker was founded. So in my first quarter, in my first year, I joined the Thinker in its second year. We had a fantastic year. We really pushed back on a lot of the COVID mandates at our university and beyond. We got a lot of coverage in the national media for that, and we're very grateful for it. Furthermore, the Institute of Politics hosted a conference on actually the second floor of this building called Disinformation and the Erosion of Democracy. And so this conference really, at least we view the term disinformation as sort of a cudgel or a way to usher in censorship, right? That's the danger, is invalidating someone else's views, someone else's opinions or research from on high. That's a problem. And so we came in, and to the great credit of the Institute of Politics, we were given media passes, and so we came in and we asked some very challenging questions. And I think we really challenged some of those preconceptions of those speakers, and as well as the attendees, and that's what it's all about, right? That's what the university environment is all about. So that was a great success for us, and we were brought up in national media quite a bit for that. It's really, if you know the Chicago Thinker, it's likely for at least one of those two things. Those were both in my first year, and so we're very blessed to have that success. We've been doing our thing for, this is now our 5th year, as a matter of fact. So it's been a great time. I'm so blessed to lead the publication. I was asked to be the editor-in-chief in August of 2024, and so for this school year, I've been leading the way, and I want to thank my team, of course, for just being a part of this. It's a publication, it's an organization truly like no other. Truly like no other. I mean, this event, this is incredible, and you're going to see some amazing panels coming up. So I couldn't have done it without the rest of my team. Our writers are so brave, and I want to emphasize, though, that it's fun. It's a good time. Being able to write about what you believe, it's a great exercise. It's a great activity for you. We've come to meet each other and know each other so well. It's such a beautiful thing, and we're so happy to be where we are. I take that in contrast to, I think, a lot of other organizations that don't necessarily have that spirit or that culture of saying what we believe to be true, even when you might have some sort of contestation or disagreement. I mean, it is a tough thing to disagree with somebody. I won't put that past anyone who feels discomforted by that. But my team do it, I do it, and it's so rewarding to all of us. The goal of this conference, the American Identity Summit, is to analyze the fundamental tenets of the American identity. We want to review what it means to be American, what those values are that make us American. Is it more than values, right? We have a lot of different dimensions to analyze of the American identity. Furthermore, we want to look at the changes to those tenets. We want to understand what's going on, what's happened for the last 20 years, for the last 10 years, even the last 5 years. So much has changed about the American identity. And of course, we want to see what's going to happen moving forward with the fundamental tenets of our identity. That's a very abstract conversation. That's what we're good at the University of Chicago, but we're also going to add a more tangible component to it, basically saying, what are the ramifications of these changes going to be on policy and on quality of life in the United States moving forward? So we're going to look at all of that. That's a lot. And so we've got 4 amazing panels and 2 individual speakers here to address you all and to figure out, basically get to the root of those questions. Right now, our country is in a moment of ascendance, in my view. We're insurgent. We have cultural dominance. It's really spiriting, just the attitudes and the changes that both geopolitically as well as domestically in the last really 6 months to a year. It's very spiriting to me, and we're going to have discourse about kind of what that means and if people agree or disagree with that. I truly believe that God has blessed our country explicitly and specifically in the past several months. It's very clear to me, and so it's fantastic. And if you needed a visualization, or you needed something to assure you of that, just 2 days ago, we got our first American-born Pope. I think that's an incredible thing. To me, it really does highlight that connection. God looks on us favorably. We have to say a prayer for our country, but I think we're in a good spot. I think we can be hopeful, especially Gen Z being a generation that was raised with a lot of challenges, right? We have been projected to be the first generation to be poorer than our parents in American history. We were sort of raised in an age of pessimism, and it's regrettable, but I believe that what a lot of the discourse centers around now is the desire to be unabashedly in favor of greatness, growth. That's something that we have to maintain. We can't be ashamed of growing our economy, loving our families, loving our country. We have to then, obviously we're going to have differing views on what those mean, but we have to be excited for it. Our first panel is the fight against censorship and the future of American journalism. And so we're going to look at, essentially more abstractly, what does it mean when we have, let's say, a regime of censorship? What are the dangers behind that? We have to further the aims of free speech and open inquiry at all times, and people are going to look differently on it, but that's something that we're going to have a lot of agreement on. Furthermore, we want to look at really the failings and the shortcomings of mainstream media and why there has been an ascendance in alternative or independent media. We want to understand why that's happening. What are the benefits of that? Are there going to be any drawbacks of that? We have to analyze all of it. Furthermore, the next panel is American citizenship and the changing character of American education. So we have to understand what it means to be an American citizen, right? Not just the blue passport, obviously, but to actually be a citizen, a member of this nation. What are the values? What are the responsibilities of being an American citizen? So we're going to look at it from different angles, and then we're going to understand what values our education system needs to confer, needs to impose upon the students in order to effectuate civic engagement, civic responsibility, and further prospering in our country. We're going to have lunch after that, and then we're going to have our third panel, which is, can we afford the American dream? As I alluded to earlier, there are great economic strains that we're experiencing right now, especially Gen Z. We're looking at 50, 60 more years of life, if God willing, right? If we're lucky, and you're going to have a point where I would like to own a house one day. I would like to raise a family one day, and I'm not alone on that within my generation. And there will be challenges to that economically that previous generations have not necessarily had. And so we need to speak honestly about that because it's something that has not really been, I believe, explored in the discourse enough. So we're excited to have that conversation here. We also have to look at our fiscal and monetary policy, taxing and spending, as well as injecting money into the money supply and see if that's sustainable. Is that something that's in our interest? We have to figure that out. Finally, our concluding panel is America's role in the world. And right now, there are so many different attitudes and views on what America's role in the world ought to be. There always have been, but they're actually now represented at the highest levels of media, of government, actually. You have different perspectives on this, and so we're going to have discourse now and really for the next couple of years that is unique to at least my lifetime. Right? We've never had this kind of opportunity for discussion on these topics as long as I've been alive. So there's a lot to say there. Furthermore, I want to close this off and get ready for our first panel, but I want to let you know that the bottom line, what I want you to hopefully take away from this is that we have to be thoughtful about these things. Okay, Gen Z has a unique spirit where we seek to inquire, we seek to challenge preconceptions, and I think that's a strength of ours. We have to lean into that. We have to be bold. If someone says, shut up and accept this, we have to not necessarily disavow it, but we have to understand why we believe what we believe. You have to think critically. And so as you hear panelists up on stage today, I want you to read their words against themselves. I want you to think, well, why might they say what they're saying? Do I agree with this? Where is there a problem with what they're saying? You want to analyze it critically. And so don't be afraid to agree, but also don't be afraid to disagree. In this moment in world history, frankly, where the preconstructed institutions and liberal institution networks are waning in influence, we have to build something in its place, right? We have to build something in their place that is strong, that is thoughtful, and that will serve humanity and our future generations. So we have to be conscious. We have to be thinking about that. We can't rely on our preconceived notions. So without further ado, I want you to know also if you're interested in writing for the Chicago Thinker, getting involved, please come find me or a team member afterward. We're recruiting at this time, so if you like what you see, we'll be in contact. Anyway, thank you so much, and I can't wait for this day.